One of the problems with so-called UFO research by debunkers is they ask the wrong question. Their question is, what are UFOs? Really what they're saying is, are all UFOs alien spacecraft? And the answer, of course, is no. The proper question is, are any?
Course of lecturing all over the continent, I have talked now to more than 90 former military people who have told me of excellent sightings that occurred while they were in the service, and where the data didn't go to the old Project Blue Book, which we were told was the only government group concerned with UFOs, but instead typically went to the Aerospace Defense Command or the National Security Agency, and where the security lid was clamped down immediately. Now, I've heard so many of these stories that I'm either having to say that all of these people are lying, or that we're dealing with the Cosmic Watergate.
Cosmic Watergate is an accurate way to describe the United States government's official reaction to UFOs. The sharp difference between the FBI's public statements about UFOs and their real actions is a good example of this. J.Edgar Hoover wrote several letters stating that the investigation of unidentified flying objects is not and never has been within the jurisdiction of the FBI. J.Edgar Hoover successfully kept the FBI's UFO file secret until 1976, when Dr. Bruce Maccabee received part of the FBI UFO file as a result of his Freedom of Information Act request. Here are the documents that were released. There are over 1,000 pages which provide information on the FBI's and the Air Force's secret investigations of UFOs. This startling document was recovered from the FBI's secret file. It is in J. Edgar Hoover's own handwriting. In response to a government request to investigate UFOs, Mr. Hoover wrote, and we quote, "I would do it, but before agreeing to do it, we must insist upon full access to discs recovered. For instance, in the LA case, the Army grabbed it and would not let us have it for cursory examination. Mr. Hoover considered UFOs a very serious subject that should receive top-level security. One of the events that may have contributed to the opinions reflected in Mr. Hoover's memo is the apparent recovery of the wreckage of a crashed UFO by the United States Army. This happened on July 8th, 1947, and involves Major Jesse Marcel, who was, at that time, the intelligence officer at Roswell, New Mexico Army Air Force Base, the only atomic bomb wing in the world. Major Marcel is a combat veteran who shot down 5 enemy planes in World War II. A local rancher brought Major Marcel to a crash site located on a remote area of his ranch. They were astonished to find the vast amount of wreckage.
One thing I was certain of, being familiar with all air activities, that it was not a weather balloon, nor an aircraft, nor a missile. It was something else of which we didn't know what it was. There were just fragments strewn all over the area, an area about 3/4 of a mile long and several hundred feet wide. So we proceeded to pick up the parts. A lot of it had a lot of little members with symbols that, to me, I call them hieroglyphics because I could not interpret them. It could not be read. They were just like symbols of something that meant something. These little members could not be broken, could not be burned. I even tried to burn that. It would not burn. See, that stuff weighs nothing. It's not any thicker than tinfoil in a pack of cigarettes. He says, I tried to bend this stuff. He says, it will not bend. He says, we did all we could to bend it. It would not bend. He says, we even tried making a dent in it with a 16-pound sledgehammer. He says, still no dent in it.
The American Broadcasting Company and affiliated stations present Headline Edition with Taylor Grant.
The 509th Atomic Bomb Group headquarters at Roswell, New Mexico, reports that it has received one of the discs which landed on a ranch outside Roswell. Colonel William Blanchard of the Roswell Air Base refuses to give details of what the flying disc looks like.
New Mexico Congressman Stephen Schiff was pressed by his constituents into making inquiries regarding the Roswell incident.
I think a number of people getting their information from news stories, not in all cases, but in many cases, are not getting all of the information.
In a 1997 radio interview, he recalls what happened when he made inquiries with the Department of Defense.
The first response I got was a bit of a terse response from a colonel in the Air Force. The letter just said, "We've referred your request for information to the National Archives," with really no further explanation. And I found that unusual at the very least.
After a second attempt with the Department of Defense, Congressman Schiff was again referred to the National Archives.
And I got a response from them that said, "We have no information about the Roswell incident." And further, they added a note that said, "We've received a great number of requests for information." And I thought to myself, well, I'm not surprised. I mean, if the Defense Department is sending everybody to the National Archives, that they'd be getting a lot of requests. And frankly, I felt this was a runaround. In other words, in my view, the Defense Department sent me to another agency on my request, knowing that agency would not have any information.
Evidently, former director of the FBI, J.Edgar Hoover, was also denied access, as he stated in his own handwriting in July of 1947. "We must insist upon full access to disks recovered." Hoover continued, "The Army grabbed it and wouldn't let the Bureau have it for cursory examination."
We will stand against the forces of...
A more recent inquiry was apparently made by President Bill Clinton.
Let us stand up and talk against it.
He asked Associate Attorney General Webster Hubbell to investigate. Webb Hubbell and Bill Clinton were old friends. In his book, Friends in High Places, Hubbell recalls a special favor that President Clinton made after he first came into office. Webb, he said, "If I put you over at Justice, I want you to find out the answers to two questions for me. One, who killed JFK? And two, are there UFOs?" He was dead serious. Hubbell had looked into both, but wasn't satisfied with the answers he was getting. When we asked Mr. Hubbell about this incident, he replied,
"Was wondering if you, by any chance, recall anything further at this point?"
No, I put everything in the book that I knew. I mean, I'd suggest you contact Mr. Clinton.
We contacted President Bill Clinton and received this letter. It is a response from NASA, stating that no government agency is currently responsible for investigating UFOs because there is no factual evidence that alien life exists on other planets, or that UFOs are related to aliens.
See, this is what you'd be up against. Who are you going to see? The moment you go see somebody, they say, "Oh, we can't tell you, it's top secret." What are you going to do? You have to walk out. So you see how the government operates? How they can, you say, you should go there and answer. Who are you going to go to? Even with the experience I had being on the top of the government all the years, I couldn't tell you who to go see.